All right, hi everybody, and welcome to this video on incident tracking. Now, incident tracking is one of the most valuable analytics features, and there is a lot to say about this. So this week's going to be beefy. Okay, so let's dive into this. What is incident tracking? Well, you as a user knows best that you often have a lot of active alarms in your console. In this example, there are 1,195 such alarms, but I've seen systems with a lot more alarms. Now, on top of that, when an incident happens, this can lead to a new avalanche of alarms, polluting the alarm console even further. Now, because of that, it can take a lot of time for you to try to group alarms that have the same root cause, simply because there are so many alarms. Now, that's why we've implemented incident tracking. This is an algorithm that automatically tries to group alarms that are related to the same root cause. And this saves time and leads to a cleaner alarm console. All right, now, how does this work exactly? What are the strategies that we use to decide that certain alarms have the same root cause? Well, there is a variety of factors that we take into account here. And in this video, I'm just going to mention the basic ones. In later videos, we'll be talking about more complicated grouping strategies. Okay, the first one, grouping strategy, is time. We're only going to group together alarms that occur within a time window of 10 minutes. That makes sense, right? If two alarms occur with 1 hour of time in between, then probably they're not related to the same root cause. The second thing we take into account is the alarm focus. Remember from last week, alarm focus is an indication of whether an alarm is important or not. Now, either our alarm groups contain all important alarms, so focused alarms, or all unimportant alarms, or unfocused alarms. We never mix those. Other grouping strategies then are related to service, element, parameter, and polling IP. Service information, this implies that we group alarms that belong to the same service. And you see an example here on this picture. There is here a service called DVB-T transmission, and all the alarms here under this heading belong to parameters of this service. So they are grouped based on service. The element information is also used to group alarms. All the alarms belonging to a same device are also automatically grouped by alarm grouping. Parameter information is a little bit more tricky. Here you have to think about devices of the same type. So we're going to look at all the devices of the same type, say the servers. Now what we will do is we will automatically group together CPU alarms on servers. So we're going to look at a specific parameter, and if that parameter is an alarm on various devices of the same type, then we're going to group those alarms as well. Now, there are some arguments to say that this is sometimes valuable and sometimes not. But fortunately, all of this is completely configurable. You can easily change the settings so that we will no longer group on parameter information. We will talk about that in a later video. And finally, we also group timeout alarms if the polling IP is the same. All right, now, before diving into a demo, let me quickly show you on a picture what this looks like in Cube. So in Cube, if you have your active alarms, you have this hamburger menu here in the alarm console. Now, you can click that, it opens up a menu. And here you can select automatic incident tracking. What this will do is it will automatically group the alarms, and you will see the alarm groups instead of just the alarms. Now, you can also get an overview of all the incidents in your system through the alarm console light bulb. Simply click it and then click the item related to incidents. And this shows you a nice overview of all the incidents on your system. All right, I hope that's all clear. Let me start with a first demo on incident tracking. All right, I'm gonna bring up my Zine system again. So let me bring it up like this. I'm also gonna give it a full screen like so. And if you've watched our video on alarm focus, you're already familiar with this setup, right? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click this alarm button. This is going to create a lot of alarms on this setup. First of all, the input of the main transmitter site will go into alarm. And as a result, there is no output of this transmitter site. Now, the slave transmitter sites are connected to this main transmitter site. And because this one doesn't have an output, the slaves will not have an input. And if they don't have an input, they can also not calculate an output. So we have an avalanche of alarms here. Okay, now let's see how alarm grouping handles this. I'm going to go back on screen. Let's see how alarm grouping handles this. We're going to go to the hamburger menu right here, and then we're going to click Automatic Incident Tracking. Voila. This way, we automatically group alarms related to the same problem. And how? Well, as the name mentions, we do this on the basis of the service. All of these alarms belong to the same service, to the same DVB-T transmission server. Now, you may notice that there is an alarm that is not, actually there are two alarms that also belong to the service, but they are not in this group. That's because they have a different focus value. I already told you that we do not mix focus values. An alarm group either contains all focused alarms or all unfocused alarms. So yeah, they are not in this group. All right, I guess that concludes it. Let me go back to my presentation. Yeah, and I think we're done for this one. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video where we will dive further into this. See you in a minute.